Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Warren, and this is my wife, Shelley Warren. We want to talk today about something that's important to us. I'm a geriatric physician, an MD, that's been practicing medicine for the last 25 years. I deal mostly with end-of-life situations and deal with people with chronic illnesses. But you know, several years ago, I started noticing that my wife, Shelley, started having some medical problems. And I started researching, trying to figure out what I could do as a physician to help her. And suddenly, after prescribing different medications, type of therapies, I suddenly was lost what I could do for her. And I want her to explain a little bit today what her symptoms are and what started happening about 2 years ago and what's been occurring in her life and what we did. And then I want to explain what I did to try to help her and why we came today to the Yay Center to get some help.
Yeah, I don't remember when it quite started, but most of my life, probably mainly after I had children, I started having a lot of chronic fatigue. Couldn't get things done, felt very overwhelmed. Kind of a brain fog, and I would sleep a lot and ache a lot, and I was having some back problems at the time, so I had been to a chiropractor, and they thought maybe it was all coming from my back. So I spent years going to a chiropractor, still didn't help my symptoms. We also got checked for rheumatoid arthritis.
Right.
Yeah, rheumatoid arthritis. No symptoms there. They thought maybe fibromyalgia, but I didn't have like all the symptoms for that. So we just didn't have any answers of what was going on, and I knew something had changed in my body, because you know your body well enough and you know when it changes, and I just wasn't getting any answers. So we luckily found Dr. Yay. It was a blessing. I don't know how it happened, but just recently we found him a couple months ago, and he's changed our life. He's given us hope, and it's just been amazing. My mother and my son also suffer from the same things that I'm going through. And so they're getting treatment as well at the Yay Center, and I've seen a big difference in them. And every day we just keep getting better, but it's been a roller coaster, up and down. So
I think even when you beginning, when we talked about it, it was almost like this alien took over your body, and you had to sleep all the time. You had that foggy mind. You couldn't concentrate in school. You used to do a lot of painting. You couldn't focus even enough to do any painting. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
And
I couldn't do a lot. It leads on to a lot of depression, because your mind wants to do a lot of things, but your body just won't do it. You just find yourself sleeping all the time, so it's very depressing.
And doing the other activities to try to relieve it, you know, whatever you could do. And then if you tried to, you had all your mind wanted to do things, but your body just wouldn't cooperate. And I noticed a big difference, you know, during the 14 years we've been together. You know, she had all this energy. We have 4 children. We were doing a lot of activities, and then suddenly, just like she just stopped, couldn't do as much as she used to. Of course, as a physician, you know, I tried my medications. We tried, oh, you're depressed, so here's antidepressants. Oh, it's neuropathic pain, so here's some other medication for that. You know, try some pain medication. We have, my nurse practitioners tried pain medication on it, just made her groggy, didn't help. We tried a variety of medications. Then I took her to chiropractors, as she mentioned. We tried the chiropractic method. She even got epidural injections in her back to try to help her back pain, and yet she still couldn't function. She still was tired. She's exhausted. Our son, at the same time, had good grades in school, and suddenly he was coming home from school and sleeping all the time right after school. He didn't get good grades. The teachers were concerned about him. So I had my wife that was sleeping all the time, a child, a 13-year-old that was unable to perform in school. I tried everything I could to try to help him with the Western world. I know in the world, when I talk to other patients that I have that have chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia or types of viral inflammation, that, you know, I didn't have any answers for them. I said, what did your doctors do for you? Well, they gave me pain medications. They gave me pills. And I said, well, that didn't help you. No, it didn't help me. I'm still just barely existing. And so luckily through some contacts, I met the doctors Yay and was able to come here and listen to their explanation of this viral inflammation, how we get a lot of these diseases through our nose and how he impacts our body. And he said to us, I have some answers for you. If you'll spend the time, I have some answers for you that I think will make a difference. And so coming from a Western world, or using medications all the time and saying, oh, well, let's try herbs, let's try acupuncture, let's try teas, you know, and let's try food, it was so, you know, it was sort of foreign to me. I knew that food was medicine, but I didn't understand the impact. And one of the things that we were taught recently was the chickens and the bananas and these foods. Well, as soon as Shelley started stopping those, that's what her diet was. She must have had chicken every day.
Yes, I lived off of chicken and bananas and turkey every day.
Every day. And suddenly when we stopped those in the diet, we saw a difference. But I'm here to say that once we stopped a lot of the Western medicine, stopped some of the things that I was doing, started her on the teas, the herbs, the acupuncture, and this full treatment, it's easy to have that ray of hope, and I think that's the thing we talk about, is having hope out there that something make a difference. She started getting more energy. She started feeling better. Again, it's up and down. That's the thing that you have to realize. It's just not an off and on switch. It's sort of a dimmer switch. It's, instead of dimming her down, Dr. Ye sort of dimming her back up, sort of increasing the light into her to give her that hope and to give her that ability to perform. And we've seen that. So it's not just an off and on, well, I'm better today because I took them. It's an up and down course, but it's always going in the uphill.
Right.
And we suddenly, and again, even with my son, I started getting calls from the teacher saying, "What'd you do to your child?" In the last 2 months, we've never seen such dramatic changes. He's bringing home 90s on his report card. He had 50s before. He was a hermit. He'd sleep in the basement. A few weeks ago, he came up to Shelley and I and said, "Aren't you taking me to the dance tonight?" We said, "What do you mean? You've been a hermit for the last 2 years. What do you mean you want to go to school to a dance?" He never went out. He always stayed at home. And to see him suddenly starting to eat better, to interact with people better, to be able to have better grades in school, to concentrate, as he says, lifting that fog from my mind, that achiness. He'd stand up in the morning, he couldn't even button his buttons because his fingertips hurt so much, and now he can do that. I was a physician. I have an MD degree. I have a PhD degree, and what good did it do? I had a wife that was suffering, a child that was suffering, a mother-in-law that was suffering, and I had no answers for him. So for me, it's an important lesson that you have to step back and look at all types of treatment, to look at natural medicine as a way of interacting Eastern medicine or Oriental medicine with Western medicine, but it's a combination of them in the right patterns to apply to your life. And I think Shelley will testify that at least in her body that it made a big difference. And for me as an outsider seeing it happen, it's really changed my perspective on things. And so I just encourage any of you out there suffering from similar things to give it a try. Put your faith in it and try it, because I think it'll make a difference in your life, having natural medicine help you feel better.
I think it's made a huge difference. I think you have those good days and it reminds you of how you used to feel. I start having a little bit more memory that I used to never have come back at times, and it gives me hope to keep going and push forward. So I'm excited that there's something finally out there that I can take and know that everything's going to be where it was again.
And that hope's an important word, because my patients that have these diseases really don't have any hope. They're just sort of stuck in a rut with the same medications, and the medications cause them more harm. And so those that are stuck in that rut, join us and join the Yays and try to make a difference in your life. So thank you very much.